Hi, everybody. Welcome. All right. Well, I normally go live at noon, but I was on a call. So I'm going live now. Awesome. Welcome, everybody, as you're joining. I'm excited about tonight's conversation live from my couch, and I've got the fire going. Oh, yeah. It's a cozy, snowy winter night in Aspen, although it's been quite warm. Hi, everybody. Welcome as you're joining. Hello, my friends. So I'm going to talk a little bit sort of about my experience the last couple of days. And tonight's topic is when what you're asking for shows up, now what? So it's really interesting because, we go through these moments where we ask for something greater, we ask for bigger, and it shows up. But I don't know about you, I've never actually had something show up in the exact way that I was asking for it to show up. Right? Or in the way that I was expecting it to show up. Hi, Mr. Kelly, welcome. So I'm gonna sort of talk about what's happened for me in the last couple of days. So um probably the last few days I've had just this like niggling in my world about some choices that I've been making. And I won't go into the specific details of the choices, but all I'll say is there was something that was like, pay attention to these choices, pay attention to these choices, pay attention to these choices. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start paying attention to these choices. And so as I started paying attention to the choices, I was aware that the choices needed to change. And my my pattern or my habit, and I'm sure none of you do this, was to try to find the reason why I had to change my choices. Right? So like I had to go from a yes to something to a no to something, right? And um and in those choices, I wanted the no. I wanted hi, sweet Krista. I wanted to, what are you still doing up, you crazy lady? It must be the advanced body class in Dublin, must be keeping you up late at night. I love it. So, I was looking at when I had a no for something I had to change, I was looking at that the old me would need to find a reason, an excuse, a justification as to why I had to like give a reason. But I went about it these last couple of days and I was like, I don't need a reason. I'm aware of something. I don't really know what I'm aware of, but I know that I need to change some choices. And look, like if it was just me, it was just affecting me, that's one thing. But these choices were impacting a lot of people. And so I made the choice. And it's so interesting because what what happened for me this morning is that I woke up pretty contracted, pretty cranky. Like all last night, I was like, I don't know who I am. I can't even recognize myself. I feel foreign. So I did what I do when I'm totally changing something major. I usually, sounds really cheesy, but I watch, oh, excuse me, Carol, I might need a body process. I love it. So what I do when I'm going through that much change and I like literally can't think, my brain shuts off. I can't even watch it. Like movies aren't interesting. I actually get on YouTube and I watch different videos, but what I watch is either American Idol, sounds really cheesy, but I watch just the individual clips in their stories, or I watch voice, what is it, The Voice. And I love the stories of coming from nothing, having no idea, and then showing up as a nobody and literally blowing people away with your voice. Like I cry, I get goosebumps. And so that's all I could do. So this morning when I woke up, I was quite cranky and I could tell that I felt really contracted. And I had this moment where I was like, well, I could stay in contraction, or or I could facilitate myself out of contraction, or I could just expand out. And so what happened and what I was cranky about this morning, which is not what you would think that I'd be cranky because things weren't working in my life. I actually got cranky because everything was showing up as if by magic. Like, actually, what I've been asking for is showing up, but because it's not showing up the way that I was expecting it to show up, I woke up this morning like with this intensity, almost like I felt like I was going to erupt as a volcano. So I'm not sure if any of you experienced this, where you're going through massive change or you're asking for big change in your life. And then all of a sudden, as you move through that change, as you experience that change and that change shows up, you go through maybe an unpleasant energy. For me, it shows up as crank. For some people, it shows up as sadness. For some people, it might show up as depression. For some people, it might show up as anger. For some people, it might show up like in a lot of different ways. And so the way that I personally experience this is I get cranky. And I actually, the last 4 months, have been doing something called NJD every day. And every day I get on a Facebook Live in a private Facebook group, and we go through this 15-minute process in the mornings where we literally like destroy and uncreate, let go of points of views about who we think we are. Kelly says, what else is possible? Exactly, about who we think we are. So anyways, I've been going through this process, and in the last 4 months, I have been the least cranky, the most happy, right? The least point of view, because the target of this group, and it's been for 4 months, I think we started November 1st, was to literally see what would happen if for an entire year we let go of every point of view we had. And the target is to get to be one of the tools in Access, which is interesting point of view. And so as I woke up this morning in that crank, and the old me would have been like, and enjoyed stewing in it and stewed it. I woke up this morning, I was like, what if I just expanded out? And so I would take the contraction and just expand. And I was like, oh, that's light. And then I would notice, like, if it would come in again, I'd go, oh, no, I have a choice. I have a choice to go and be space. Right? And so I'm saying this because I wonder, like, for any of you who are asking for a bigger life, when you ask for that bigger life, you ask for more ease, you ask for more money, maybe you're asking for more intimacy in your relationships, maybe you're asking, oh God, don't look at the camera and try and adjust your hair. Oh my God, that's funny. No judgment. Okay. So, but when you're asking for something to show up and all of a sudden it starts to show up, I need a haircut. It starts to show up. All of the sudden there is like, what could be perceived is you're not used to the new space you created, right? Yeah. Wow. Lisa says, I just realized I've been the most happy and least cranky too. NJD every day and energy pulls every day. Thank you. You're so welcome, Lisa. So yeah, we've been doing NJD every day. And then we've been doing, I just started it actually, and you guys are still welcome to join if you want. Every day we're doing Monday through Friday energy pulls. And we're doing a version of energy pulls that it feels really different and it feels really expansive in my world, which is the body. And I've been talking about this. So the body doesn't know the difference between you imagining something and it actually, no, I don't want to have that button. You imagining something and the body experiencing it and the body actually having it. So if you imagine so much with every cell of your body that you're driving a brand new Porsche Macan, with white leather interior, maybe it's steel gray on the outside, and you're driving through the mountains and you're seeing the like, if you all of a sudden give your body that experience, it doesn't know the difference between perceiving that and as if you were actually driving a steel gray Porsche Macan with white leather interior. Okay. And so these energy pulls that we've been doing is actually to give your body the felt experience of everything you're asking for long before it shows up. And it's been really cool. But one of the things that I've been looking at is when you ask for everything that you want and it shows up, right? I should talk about me. I tend not to acknowledge that I've just completely changed my entire reality. So this morning, my crank was not because I was having everything I wanted. Well, maybe, but it was simply that I had not acknowledged that everything I was asking for was showing up and I had nothing to be cranky about. So I started to create crank because crank is a familiar energy that gives me something to push up against. I had nothing to push up against because the door had opened to all possibilities. So, one of the things that I acknowledged today and that I was witnessing in myself is that it's really easy to contract to keep the limitation in place. It's a lot more challenging to expand, to allow for the expansion, the communion with the expansion of possibilities. Isn't that crazy? You guys never do that, right? You never ask for what you want and then it shows up. It shows up, but it doesn't show up the way you think. So now you have to create a problem instead of enjoy that the possibility that showed up was way lighter, was way more magical, was way easier than you ever imagined. And so the other thing, an aha that I had today is I've been looking at a few areas of my life and I keep noticing, and today it was like this big aha is I've been getting what I need. I haven't been getting what I want. Okay, so I'm going to say that again so that maybe it can sink in for you is I've been getting what I need. I haven't been getting what I want. Okay, so I might want something or someone or an energy to show up in a particular way. It never shows up in the way I want. It always shows up in the way I need to match the bigger life I'm asking for, to facilitate me to become even greater. Does that make sense? Hola, Mireya. Okay, so do you guys get this? So how many of you are not acknowledging that you always get what you need? And what you need in that moment that you're getting it is the invitation to become everything you desire, right? So you almost never, at least I almost never, get what I want. I say that with a caveat, but I always get what I need. And so here's a possibility to put into your world. What if you changed what you were asking for to a need instead of a want? What if you needed to never have to struggle with money again? What if you needed to build a business that fueled your body? What if you needed to have people that contributed to your universe around you at all times? Like instead of, oh, I really want that, right? I really would like that, but what if you actually created it as a need in your world? And so, my friends, if you have been requesting and putting out asks to the universe, right? If you've been like, man, what would it take to have more money? What would it take to have a new car? What would it take to have a new house? What would it take to have a relationship that fuels me or relationships that fuel me? Whatever it is in your world, and you ask, what would it take, right? What if you actually reframed it into, I need this, right? Because, yeah. So what if there is a beautiful song about getting what you need, and well, exactly, it's my favorite song. And actually, some of you know in the fall my dad passed away, And he passed, I think, the week after my birthday. I think like 5 days after my birthday. So my birthday, November 12th, my dad passed November 17th. And I used to full blast on the stereo while we were driving down the highway or driving down the road, right? Is was the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want, right? And that song always stuck with me in such a great way. And Krista, it is a great song. So, my friends, what if you changed what you think you want into a need instead of into a maybe, instead of into a wish, but you actually created it as a need? I wonder what that would create in your universe. So, when what you're asking for shows up, right, acknowledge that literally you have just become and created an entire new reality. So when you get what you want, it changes your world. When you get everything you're asking for, you become a different person. And so now what is, would you begin to open up the space to acknowledge that you've just become a different person? That things in your world are changing. So that's all I have for you today. Short and sweet, right? We're going to start doing short and sweet. And, I usually go on live Monday through Friday at noon Mountain Standard Time, but I missed today. So we're coming on tonight. Maybe you don't normally join us live. So welcome those of you that have. If this conversation contributed to you, please share it. If you want to tell us what's changed, or you want to leave a comment, please feel free to leave a comment. Oh my goodness. So, my friends, it always shows up. It just never shows up the way you think it's going to. Dr. Dane here says that so many times. If you're like, who's Dr. Dane here? Look him up. Dr. Dane here. Get his book, Changing the World, Being You, Changing the World, and look up accessconsciousness.com. My friends, you are a gift to the world. Thanks for being here. And if you're like, oh my God, those energy pulls that you're talking about, how do we get them? You can go to KatherineMcIntosh.com, and at the top, go to more courses. We have, I think, 10 live events happening throughout the world. So excited to have these live events. And I wonder what's possible. So, my friends, I adore you, and we will see you next time somewhere in the world, sometime, giving you a squeeze. And for the dreamers out there, don't give up on your dreams. Everything and anything is possible. Bye for now. See you next time.